Hey folks, how we doing? Real quick before I get back to work here. Real quick, got a little brainstorm while I was doing my little other work. A little brainstorm came to me. Yes, Lord. I was just doing my other work, and then this brainstorm hit me like a ton of bricks. Yes, it did. As you can see from my title, Negroes demand special field order 15 or land and direct IRS cash payments no later than September or no vote. Please do this for your children. I know y'all clearly recognize I'm throwing one more Hail Mary. I just had to throw one more Hail Mary. I don't preach about boycotting, so this is the last Hail Mary that y'all folks gonna get from me. This is the last one. I'm going down in flames. I am going down in flames. I'm rolling the dice, and I'm throwing that Hail Mary. I'm gonna throw that darn Hail Mary, and I hope you folks catch it. All you folks, please, for God's sake, put it on blast. Put it on your social media platforms. Tell your family members. The link is in the chat. Click on that link that I put in the chat for the 50 network groups, and get as many folks in that for your state, and add your name. Seeing as how I was preaching earlier about the other good folks doing this, I said, well, I'm going to have to put the actions where my mouth is, like I always preach. I don't preach anything that I don't apply to myself. I have to be a person of my word. You know, it's kind of like a bad habit now. I got to be a person of my word. I don't say nothing out my mouth if I'm not applying it to myself. So that's why I'm throwing this Hail Mary. I'm asking you, click that link that say 50 network groups and get in there, please, so we can figure out what our number count is and make this threat count. Let's make this threat count of a no vote. I wish I could have put all those other terms in the title, but you know you're only limited to a certain number of characters. I would have included the Black Americans and the melanated folks in the title, because we need all of us. We need all of us to gather that number count and make this threat count. Our kids and grandkids are depending on us, and us adults, we need a lifeline too. we certainly need a lifeline. I ain't ashamed to admit it. I am not ashamed to admit it. Each one of us adults need a lifeline also. Well, let's just try to go. Let's just try to get this done for the children and the grandkids. Okay, let's make this threat count. Let's try to force these. Let's force these demons to deliver on our demands before this election. Let's just try to get it done. I mean, we might as well go down in flames. We ain't got too many other options. Let's go down in flames. Maybe we just may be able to apply enough pressure to get them to give up something before this election, so we can get our folks down to the South in one of those 8 states. We need a Hail Mary. We need a Hail Mary, and we need to get our folks to safety. And they just may be desperate enough to give up something. Don't y'all think? Don't y'all think they just may be desperate enough to give up something? My gut tells me they are. I don't know about anyone else, but my gut tells me they desperate enough to give up something. They just may re-implement that special field order 15. If they don't agree to that, then they just need to give out that land to and be mistreated based on the color of crayon, based on the color of object, when you have gotten the information that has told you that America has harmed you for 53 years, why would you not want to abolish it? Why would you not want to stop saying the word out your mouth? Why would you not want to do that? What is hindering you from making that leap? That this word, my enemy has been using this word to harm me for more than 53 years. So why should I be caught saying it out my mouth ever again? Why? Or writing it in print? Why in God's name would I want to do that voluntarily? When I clearly have the information, I clearly can send my enemy a major blow, a major blow, if I reclaim my birthright and not want to identify as a color of crayon or an imaginary racial group called African American. That is what I can do to my enemy without lifting up one weapon, without doing any marching, without voting, without doing anything else I can think of. That is the one clear way that I can dish out a major blow to my enemy, because that was the only purpose of those two words. The only purpose of white and black was to mistreat human beings. That's the only reason why they were put out into the atmosphere, and society started using them. These evil persons who wanted to feel superior over other human beings, they came up with these two words, white and black, because they could see that slavery was coming to an end. They could see the writing on the wall that slavery was getting ready to come to an end, because they've been wrapped in this word called white for over 200 years. So if you back up the years, it takes you a little past 1865. You're going to be somewhere, I guess, in the, let me see here, 1865, 1965. You're going to be somewhere in the 1820s, I guess, 1820s or 1840s. It's about when they came up with this brainstorm that they wanted to pull these two words out the air. And these two words were white and black, and they were going to I guess they could have never imagined that it would have worked as well as it did. They could have never have predicted that it would have worked as well as it did. Because myself included, I swallowed it hook, line, and sinker too. I can't count the number of times I have said those two words out of my own mouth. So I'm just as guilty, and I'm just a victim, just like any other person. But that's the good thing about human nature in the brain. It wants to self-correct. The brain wants to self-correct. So I have allowed my brain to make self-correction, and I have clearly come to the understanding that I need to abolish those two words, because they serve one purpose: to make sure another human being could be mistreated. So what is confusing about that? What in God's name is confusing about that simple understanding? Because we clearly know that there is no human being who come from original ethnicity bloodline called white. We clearly know that no human being was born that come from original ethnicity bloodline that was black. So why do we want to continue to use the word once we have learned the truth? Because if this is not corrected, you and myself included will pass this on to our children and our grandchildren. And why would you want to do that? you're going to have to answer that question for yourself. Each and every Negro is going to have to answer that question. Each and every melanated person that continue to use these two words are going to have to answer that question every day that you wake up. Every single day that you wake up, that the good Lord gives you another day on this earth, you are going to have to answer that question. Why have I not abolished these two words, white and black? Ask yourself that question over and over and over until you get an understanding as to why you haven't abolished it, because the facts are now out there. Most persons know about these facts, maybe not a good majority, but those of us who do know the facts need to do everything in our power to make sure that others learn those facts too, so they can make self-correction. Because if not, this is definitely going to harm any persons who will have grandkids that will turn 18 or 20 someday, and they will have to live up under that word BLACK and white. And so why would you not want to do everything in your power to make sure that that doesn't happen to your loved one or anyone in your community? I don't know why you would not want to try to do that when you certainly have the ability to do that. You certainly have the ability to tell your enemy that you're going to abolish those two words, and it's going to make sure you deliver a major blow to their delusional world that they've been living in for over 200 years of feeling that they are privileged. That is what you will certainly be doing. Well, I cannot tell anyone else what to do, but that is exactly what I have decided to do. I have claimed my liberation, and I have abolished those two words. White and black is abolished. And going forward, I will make every effort not to use those two words if I can help it, because I know it has done nothing but harm myself for over 53 years of my 61 years on this earth. So why would I want to continue to use something that has harmed me for 53 years of my 61 years? Why would I want to continue to use it? Unless I just don't love myself. That would be the only conclusion that I can come to. Is the only reason, that would be the only reason why I would want to continue to use the word black if I did not love myself. And I know good and darn well that I love Aqua like no tomorrow. I am clear on that one, absolutely clear on that. That Aqua know that she loves herself like no tomorrow. So knowing I know this about myself, I would certainly not want to use a word that has harmed me for 53 years. I would not want to do anything that will harm me. So why would I want to use a word and say it out my mouth or write it in print if I know it has harmed me for 53 years? The same way I know if I stick my finger in fire, it's going to burn me. I know not to do it. I know not to do it because I know actually you don't want your finger to get burnt. So you are not going to stick your finger in that fire. It's the same thing with this darn word BLACK and WHITE. Each one of them need to be abolished. And just think of how much of a major blow that would be to your enemy if you abolish just those two simple words. You can't even begin to imagine the blow that would shatter their world. It would crumble around them if they was to constantly hear the Negroes and melanated persons say they are abolishing those two words. They will fall apart. The same way the Jews fell apart when Kari Irvin posted a link about Hebrews and Negroes, Wake Up Blk American. Once America and the whole world start hearing you state clearly that you are abolishing those two words, their whole world is going to start to crumble around them. they are going to be completely destroyed. I mean, they've been wrapped in the word for over 200 years. I can't think of anything that could shadow their world more than that, other than losing your life. I mean, short of that, there's not nothing else that comes close to it. And I don't intend to kill anybody unless I have to protect my life. I don't intend to kill anyone unless it means that I am protecting my life. So nobody's going to go out here looking to kill anyone. Or most of us not. Some of us maybe, but not most of us are not. So short of these persons who have been wrapped into this word called WHITE, that's the only major blow that I can think of to take back your liberation, is to say, I am going to abolish these two words, and their little world is going to start crumbling around them. You're not going to see it. You may not be able to see it with your two eyes, but their little world, their little perfect world that they've been wrapped in like a cocoon, is going to slowly crumble around them, because it's clear that those two words serve one purpose: to mistreat human beings that had a skin color that was browner or darker than these other persons who saw themselves as white. Even though they knew they were not white, they came from original ethnicity bloodline, and it wasn't spelled WHITE. It was spelled German, Irish, Italian, European, all these different nations, but none of those words spelled white. Not one time. Not one time did it spell that their ethnicity was white. So they came up with this brilliant idea that they was going to put those two words out there in the atmosphere so that they could mistreat mainly Negroes, because that's when they came up with it just before slavery ended, and they wanted to feel superior over other human beings, especially those Negroes that they knew that slavery was getting ready to come to an end. They could see the writing on the wall that slavery was getting ready to come to an end, and they still wanted to feel superior. Okay, folks, this is Who Did You Boycott today? I'm going to have to get ready to close out this broadcast. I need to run some errands, but I'm going to come back most likely later on and do another broadcast, because I'm tired of these sorry human beings trying to, they detest my guts, but they like to steal my talking points and talking messages. They don't have a problem with that. They don't have any scruples about that reality. Every opportunity I've had a chance to listen to my audio recordings, they have definitely been listening to my audio recordings. I made this clear way back a couple of months when Miss Gazelle, I had caught her on one of her replays using a lot of my talking points, a lot of my talking narratives. And for you folks who are opening your Twitter spaces, just be aware of the fact that Twitter X has made it possible for you to pop in anonymously and listen into any room that you choose to listen to. So it serves no purpose. It serves no purpose to try to duck and dodge so that I don't see your room, because I know how to locate it if I really want to put the effort in. I know how to take steps to locate your Twitter space, and I'm going to catch you using my talking messages at any given time, just so you are warned. You never never know when I may just be listening, and I just may address you the next broadcast, and then again I may not. But you never know when I may be listening, and I catch you regurgitating my talking messages, because I know I have listened to many of you for the past 2 years. So I'm kind of familiar with what has constantly came out your mouth on a consistent basis. And then I compare that to what is coming out your mouth now. And I clearly can see where you have stolen my talking messages. So I'm going to keep watch for you folks who want to try to hijack my talking message, while at the same time you despise my guts. I know you despise my guts. You ain't got to say it out your mouth, but I could give a darn. Because if you're not breathing for me, I could care less whether you like me or you despise my guts. I really could care less. But what I care about is you lying folks running around here caping for your enemy. That's what I really care about. I don't care how you feel about me personally, but I do care about how you running around here caping for your enemy and your opposition. You're doing a very good darn job of caping for your enemy. They play you folks like a fiddle. For 2 whole years, all you could think about was reparations. Now all you can think about is caping for your oppressor, whether it's Trump in the Republican Party, the MAGA, or it's the Democrats oppressor. They cut from the same cloth. They are cut from the same cloth. And it seems like you folks just have, the word reparations has disappeared. It has become invisible. And they got you folks caping for them. That's what you're using your time off your life and the energy in your body. I don't hear you smacking them in the face that you want reparations for your vote. No, you too busy manipulating your community and giving them the horror story, the fear tactic that if you don't go vote for the Trump, then this immigration crisis is going to decimate you. It's going to decimate you. Well, it surely is going to have a major impact, but the people in your community could have a better chance of a fair fight if you demanded land and cash payment for your vote. Don't you think that would make logical sense? Don't you think that would make logical sense for all you folks running around here caping for Trump, caping for the Democrats? You are compromised. Each one of you are compromised because I have to hunt for the word reparations. I literally have to hunt for the word reparations because they have convinced you folks to change your narrative, change your talking point, and put their priority ahead of your own. You see how they manipulate you folks as they play you like a fiddle? For 2 whole years, all you cared about and talked about and marched about and protested about and wrote to your congressperson about, wrote to your senators about was reparations. Now, all I can hear is how desperate you want to vote for the Republicans. You want to vote for Trump. You folks have completely forgot about your number one priority, reparation. They have convinced you to care about their interests more than your own interests. They playing you like a fiddle, a complete fiddle. And I pray to God that those persons out there who have a backbone, who have courage, will demand something for their vote before they go in there and vote. Those are the persons who are brave. Those are the persons who have courage. Those are the persons who have a backbone. Not you weak persons who just running around here telling folks you looking forward to voting for your enemy. You are looking forward to voting for your enemy. when you clearly know the oligarchies own the government. OLIGAR. Hello, folks. This is Who Did Your Boycott today. I'm starting my second recording. I'm getting ready to go to sleep for a couple of hours, and then I'm going to get back up and see how I feel. But I intend to be dedicated to exposing these hand-picked stool pigeons that are running around here telling their people to go vote for this corrupt government and this voting process, when the only thing they should be saying out their mouth 24 hours a day is that if you don't deliver 4 or 5 demands, then you can roll the dice and pray to God that enough folks come out and vote. And you ones who are campaigning for these parties, these politicians, whether you are campaigning for the Republicans, the Democrats, the Independent, the Green Party, and everybody in between, if you are not sending them a clear message that they have before June, no later than August, to deliver 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 demands. If they don't deliver those demands by those deadlines, they can roll the dice. And each one of you brain dead persons who are campaigning for them can roll the dice too and get on your knees and pray to God that enough folks come out to vote. I don't think they are. I'm willing to bet my life on it that enough grandmothers and grandfathers are not going to go to that voting booth and pass this and inherit this onto their grandkids. They're just not going to do it because they probably feel like I do, that we as elders, we have 50 years of data to reflect on where we went wrong. We got 50 years. We're not like you folks who are in your 20s and 30s and 40s. You still need to gather that data. But us elders, we got 50 years of data that is a constant reminder on our conscience. What we did not understand when we was 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, we understand now. We clearly understand that because the good Lord kept us here long enough to make that evaluation. And I just don't believe grandmothers and grandfathers are going to walk into that booth and pass this harm down to their grandkids. I don't believe that with a clear conscience, that they are going to do that. So Mr. Disruptor and Mark Carter and any of you folks, it's Damon Jones, a.k.a. Clarence Thomas, Black Chicago for Trump, Mr. Cummins, and whoever that other person name, I just cannot seem to remember, Coffee. You folks are going to receive your just due for manipulating your community. Each and every one of you are going to receive your just due for manipulating your community the way you are doing it. When you clearly have the intelligence and the reach of an audience to clearly ask your community to send one clear message to your enemy and your opposition, that if they don't deliver 2, 3, 4, or 5, at least 2 demands before the election, you have already talked to your community and they are on the same page with each other, that they want you to roll the dice and you just hold your breath on election night results. Just hold your breath and pray to God that you don't kill over. I'm voting for the kill over. I want you to hold your breath and just kill over. I don't need to stutter on that one. Or you can roll the dice and pray to God that enough folks came out to vote. You got a few options there, but if you got a brain in your head and you can summon up a come to Jesus moment, you would drop to your knees and pay that debt that's owed to the Negro ancestors and their descendants. The same way you sat down and signed the executive order for the Asians, the Latinos and Mexicans, the LGBTQ, and the Native Americans, in the same way you passed a bill for the Ukraine, the Palestinians, and Israel, and everybody in between, it's the same way you sit back down with that pen in your hand and sign that executive order for the Negroes to receive their justice. If that doesn't happen, I got my trust in my Heavenly Father that each and every one of you are going to get your just reward. That is who I'm putting my faith in. I'm not putting my faith in no Trump, no Republican, no Democrat, no Independent, no Green Party, no nothing but my Heavenly Father and my own common sense. That is where I'm putting my faith in. That is who I will put my faith in until the day I die. You folks are having a good old time misleading your community and lying to them flat-faced, but you will, before you leave this world, you are going to receive your just due. We all get that just due while we're here. None of us escape it. Each and every one of us experience that just due over and over during our lifetime. We don't know if it's going to be the next hour, the next day, or next week, or next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, but it's coming. As sure as our name is on our birth certificate, that just due is coming at your door. It's going to knock at your door. You may not want to answer it, but it's going to keep right on knocking until it smacks you smack dab in the face. So you folks, stay tuned, because I'm going to keep you on blast. I intend to open this broadcast regularly. I'm not going nowhere unless the good Lord takes me off this earth, and unless my health goes bad, I'm going to make it a point to do these broadcasts regularly, and pray to God that these broadcasts reach the masses and they can make their own critical thinking, their own logical thinking, and think for themselves, because they know their well-being better than anyone else. They don't need to listen to you, Mr. Disruptor, Mr. Mark Carter, Lady Black Chicago for Trump, and whoever you got out there in Chicago who has a organization called Niggers for Trump, all of you too. And Mr. Cummins, Damon, a.k.a., who is pretending to be a reverend, a preacher. But see, Damon Jones, newsflash, those of us who have read the Bible have already been warned about you folks who come in sheep clothing. Did you read that in the Bible? You talked about Bible study. You had to have read that part in the Bible. Damon Jones, Clarence Thomas. It's so ironic that you have the same name as Clarence Thomas on the Supreme Court, because you both cut from the same cloth. Both of you are cut from the same cloth. It's not by accident that you end up with the same name. That was a way for God to warn us about both of you. That was God's way of warning us about both of you with that name, Clarence Thomas. Just so you know. You don't know what's going to trip you up, what you're going to say or do, or something about your character that sent up that red flag. It can be as simple as a name. As simple as a name. That could be the red flag that sink you. And you didn't even see it coming. You didn't even see it coming. You just thought you was going to have smooth sailing. Just completely smooth sailing all the way to the finish line with whatever your ill intentions were. But you had no way of knowing what God had in store for you to trip you up. You had no way of knowing what God had in store for you to trip you up. So stay tuned, folks. We have to send a message to our enemy and our opposition that the Negroes need Special Field Order 15. If they will not deliver Special Field Order 15, then they need to deliver land in land grants of 40 acres and a mule before the election, along with IRS cash payments before the election. Those are two simple demands. Very simple demands. So they shouldn't have a problem delivering them if they really want you to come out and vote. If they really want you to come out and vote, then they should deliver those two demands. Because the Negroes are in a dire state. And we don't have time to play this corrupt game with these crooked people. And anyone that's telling you that has not sat down and did their own critical evaluation to understand that Negroes don't have time to play this corrupt game any longer. Negroes have played this corrupt game of voting and politics for over 50 years. Over 50 years, Negroes' bloodline has played this corrupt game of politics and voting with these evil people. That's long enough. That's long enough. So every penny and nickel and dime that we can put to save up to buy land, to invest in the Negro and melanated communities, business, infrastructure, to build trade schools, to build schools for our kids from kindergarten to 12th grade, and to invest in Negroes' businesses. That should be our focus. That's where our money should be going. Not for no protests on April the 15th. Not for no protests in Chicago on the 19th, 20th, and 21st. No, that is not where our money should be going. That is not where the Negro money should be going. Now, if all these other folks who feel too offended to go by Negro, they choose to want to go by these other terms, or all these other melanated persons, if they want to go over that cliff, then wave goodbye to them on their way down. But the Negroes need to summon the courage to stand on what their ancestors fought and died for so that they could have a better life. That is what the Negro bloodline need to do. Because that is what's inside of each one of us. Our ancestors passed that down to each one of us. And for these folks who keep running around here, changing up these terms as they're speaking, God hear you every time you do it. In one breath, you're a Negro. In the next few minutes, you're Blk American. In the next breath, you are a Negro freeman. In the next few breaths, you are African American. In the next few breaths, you are FBA. In the next few breaths, you are B1. In the next few breaths, you are ADOS. Those are not God's people. Those other words that I just said out my mouth are not God's people. The only people who are God's people are Negroes. So you folks have not just only removed yourself from this landmass and placed yourself on the African continent. God hear you every time you say those other words out your mouth. You are claiming your identity. And don't think that God is going to let you back in. Don't think that God is going to let you back in. That you're going to have the ability to wake up and decide, I want to be a Negro now. No, God is listening to every one of us. And God has heard every time you have chosen to use these other terms after you have been told the correct facts. Now, what happened before you were told those correct facts, God is not going to hold that against you. But God is certainly going to hold it against you that you are choosing to identify with these other terms. And it's nowhere in the Bible that describes any of these other terms that they are God's people. The only persons who are described in the Bible that are God's people are the Negro ancestors and their descendants. That's clearly spelled out in the Bible. So for any of you who have been rebellious against reading the Bible, I would advise you to go read it, because there's a lot of truth in there. It's a lot of lies. But there's a whole lot of truth in there too. That's why they hid it in there. That's why the evildoers hid it in the Bible, because they figured you would never pick it up. They figured the Negroes would never pick the Bible up, so it was safely hidden away. Oh, they miscalculated. They miscalculated. Yes, they did. They miscalculated. And each of you folks who are too good to identify as a Negro, God got your just reward waiting on you too. God has your just reward waiting on you. You folks who felt that Negro was outdated, Negro was offensive, God has your just reward waiting on you. Yes, he does. I don't know what else to tell you. I really don't know what else I can tell you. But that's the whole cold reality. Yes, it is. So I hope folks can let that marinate. That's what you need to do. You need to have a sit down with yourself and let it marinate. I hope you'll come to a better understanding for your well-being. No one can make that decision for you but yourself. You know what's best for your well-being better than anyone else. So take whatever amount of time you need to come to that conclusion. What is best for your well-being? For your well-being, for your day-to-day life. That's your personal choice to make. And you can listen to these brain-dead persons who are telling you to commit suicide and go over the cliff. Or you can think for yourself. You can think for yourself and come to your own conclusion. But one thing you can't avoid is that you do not have Bank of America type of money. You do not have JP Morgan type of money. You do not have Chase Bank type of money. You do not have Wells Fargo type of money. And if you know you do not have that kind of money, then you can come to your own conclusion that your vote does not count. It simply does not count because the banks and the corporations own these politicians. And there's nothing I can do about it or you can do about it. It's just accepting that reality and that fact. And then sitting back and evaluating what can you do to improve your financial security and your mental and physical stability and protection around yourself each and every day, because that's just a hostile environment that I was born into. I didn't have a vote. I didn't get a vote. I was born into that hostile environment. So I've spent the 61 years of my life trying to figure out how to navigate it. So I'm gonna get back to playing this, putting this 9-minute and 20-second video clip that has no volume. It's just gonna play over and over until I wake back up. I don't know when that's gonna be. It could be in the next 2 hours. It could be in the next 4 hours. I don't sleep very well anymore. So whenever I get up again, I'll go back live again and start maybe coming on the microphone. But right now I'm getting ready to start this video clip. It don't have any audio to it, and it will play until I wake back up, because my body has to get some sleep. I've been up for over 24 hours. Yes, Lord. And so I'm going to take a little rest, and then I'm going to get back up and get back at it. Yes, Lord.